So here we have the bodice, and it's all understitched, nicely pressed so that the bodice front stays nice without the lining rolling forward. And the next thing we're going to do is to control the outside armholes. And we're going to do something called a burrito. And that basically is a technique where you hide all your seams. So what you're going to do, you've got your bodice here, and keeping the two layers together, you're going to roll one side. This is right sides out. You don't have any seam showing at the moment around the neckline. So you're going to roll your bodice to the opposite outside edge. And then you're going to fold the top layer over the roll and then bring the underside layer together and pin that in place. And you're going to do that all the way along, so we can do the other end. So this one's going to come forward, and then the one underneath is going to come back under to meet it. So we'll pin that there. And then we're going to tuck all the rest of the bodice inside this little roll. It gets a bit full when you get up here because you've got all of the edge, the shoulder, inside a small piece of fabric, but it works. So you're going to join up your seams. We've got our seams here, so you'll match up your seams. And then we'll pin all the way around, tucking these down, because when you're actually stitching them, you don't want to catch those pieces in the seam. So you can, if you put your pins a good way in from the outside edge, now tuck that bit down out of the way. You can pin these pieces in here, but then it makes it difficult if you forget and leave them in when you're turning it back through. So there we are. We're going to join up those two there. And this one again, I'm going to tuck all that in. This is such a lovely method to get a nice outside edge without any raw edges on the inside of your garment. I'll put another pin there. So tucking that all back. And then we're going to stitch it from our tailor's tacks at the two ends. We had these two tailor's tacks here. So you're going to stitch from one end all the way around the outside edge to the next tailor's tack, making sure as you go that all of this that's inside, everything that's rolled up inside, is away from your seam, because you don't want to catch any of that in your seam. I folded it quite a way back. There's a little bit there, look, that's come forward. So if I take that pin out there, look, that's quite close. So I'll just tuck that away and put my pin pack in. And with 1 centimetre seam, and you're going to stop at your tailor tack. You don't want to go on completely to the end. Don't follow it on. Do either lock-in stitch or a return stitch at this point, because this is where your ties are going to go. So you don't want to make this area any smaller, because you've got your skirt coming in here and your ties are going in there, and that should meet up with this point here. So I'll just go and do that, and then I'll come back and show you how to do the other.